What's up, y'all? What's going on? Welcome back. Once again, it's me, Eddie G, here with another brand new episode of Eddie G's Comic Culture. Uh, Once again, the show is still sponsored by the great folks over at Black Apparel, so make sure you guys check out their website at www.blackapparelblk.com. Shout outs to Kevin Seabright, a brother of mine out of New Jersey, for putting in the work on the show as well. Um, Shout out also to Blu-ray Dan for another good inspiration for the program as to why I started this. He's got a great Instagram account where details his journey along his weight loss program, as well as he has some awesome reviews. So make sure you check him. That's another reason why to check out his page. He's also got a YouTube channel as well where he does a lot of unboxings for Blu-rays, 4K Blu-rays also, both old and new, and a lot of insightful reviews as well when it comes to that. So his views are they're awesome, man. Definitely make sure you give him a check it out. And Dennis Knight over at Pronto Comics has a cross comic that's still out now, an independent publisher, of course, guys. So make sure you check out his material. New York Comic Con, I've seen that they already started doing some advertisements online. I've seen something to that effect. So make sure you check them out. And once again, welcome back. First and foremost, to all those that are just brand new to the show, this is a show that I discuss mostly all things comic books related, as well as video games, movies, music from the past, present, and as well as the future. All things pop culture, definitely. I touch up on a lot of things as much as I can as far as subjects are concerned regarding nostalgia, things of that interest of that. So basically, I like to create a forum about a lot of the things that you basically see around me. The comic book posters and everything. I'm a big DC preference. I'm a big DC fan, of course. I love Marvel. Don't get me wrong. I love Marvel comics, but my preference has always been DC. And that's why today I got a special co-host, because this cat right here was I finally had to get this ordered again. I unfortunately I left my original Ed McGuinness base figures. Of course, if you guys don't know, this is the Superman figure from the Public Enemy storyline, and I wanted to discuss this. I wanted to have him up here because basically I want to do a quick review. Today I'm going to be talking about Action Comics issue number 1000, which I finally managed to get a copy of. It's been a hell of a journey. Number one, I've been trying to find myself a decent comic book shop from a man's over here, but unfortunately it's been a no-go. So I found a spot that's in Tampa, but that's a little far out, and I really just, I know there's another location that I'm definitely trying to check out by next weekend, hopefully, and but it's been hell living in Central Florida, trying to find especially in a rural community like this. But I finally got my hands on a copy of issue number 1000, so I'm going to talk about that. Talk about a bunch of other stuff that's been going on. Of course, my review for Avengers Infinity War. Sorry, Soups. I don't want to I'm not trying to dish your brand or nothing. He doesn't look too happy. But anyways, sorry, Soups, but I had to give my review. I did see it. It was an epic ass movie. Sorry. Anyway, but and Avengers Infinity War, a bunch of other things that I want to discuss. So let's just get right into it. First and foremost, I want to discuss. It's been about a month already and some change that Infinity War that has been out, and wow, what a hell of a movie it's been. It's been a hell of a ride trying to maintain this, trying to maintain the low level of not having it. It's been of a hell of a ride, considering I've been trying to avoid all sorts of spoilers regarding the movie, and so I've been trying to back off of social media like that. But unfortunately, you know how that goes. It doesn't really necessarily work that way. So I ended up checking my stuff anyway, and some dicks, some people are just assholes regardless. They ended up posting spoilers anyway for the movie. So a few things I found out, but it wasn't so much as a big game breaker for me. Because it still was a hell of an effect when I saw it. Let me just fix this little here. So, anyways, what a hell of a movie, man! That was the movie of the year. Let me tell you, Marvel has kicked it off with a bang. It started off with Black Panther, and it's been a bum rush ever since. And now Infinity War has literally been the culmination of all things the last 10 years regarding the MCU. It's been a hell of a ride. I know there's been some shocking deaths, of course. One of the ones that most affected me, realistically speaking, was Loki. I know this is mild spoilers, so guys, mind you, I mean, everybody should have seen the movie by now, but I gave like a month window time to talk about it. But it was really one of the main things that affected me for the movie's experience. One of that was the main character was the death of Loki. So I'm hoping that at this point, A lot of the stuff that I'm hoping he's one of the characters that come back, because we all know what happened towards the end of Infinity War. How many, half of the Marvel universe is gone, and we know they're returning back in the next film. I think my question is Loki one of those people that are Loki is Loki one of those planned characters that will be returning back to the fray? You understand? And somebody else passed away. It's been a while. I saw it opening day, and it was about a month ago. So I can't. I don't. Somebody else passed away. Oh, Nebula, of course, and Gamora. Even though Gamora, I knew was coming back. Also forgot. Because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is still happening. So that was also a main thing. It was a hell of a movie, man. It was a great culmination of all things that have happened within the past 10 years in the MCU. It literally tied everything into to place. It was an emotional ride. It was definitely most I was invested through it from start to finish, and it was nothing of less of what I expected. The Russo brothers definitely did have a hell of a lot on their plate, and I commend them exactly for delivering pretty much the ultimate comic book film of all time, considering the scope and the size of the film, and the cast of characters that it has. So, with all that being said, it was a fantastic film. The only bad thing that I had about it, of course, was, and generally, my only gripe about it was, was the cliffhanger ending, which we all know, and I would pretty much imagine was going to be the case considering the size of the story, because at this point, it's not just about wanting to know who's coming back into this, who's going to be coming back next year. It's about what's going to happen afterwards. What's going to happen next? What are the changes that are going to, that are going to be implemented? How's it going to be felt throughout the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe? What's going to, where are they going to go from there on out? Because this is pretty much it for Chris Evans as Captain America, which is another character I'm going to miss. I'm assuming they're probably going to go with the storyline of, excuse me, guys. I'm assuming they're going with the storyline here of pretty much taking the opportunity of having Bucky go forward with the, taking over the mantle of Captain America, which is, I understand, it makes sense, but it's just going to be one of the big voids to have to get used to, as far as the storyline is concerned. Um, but definitely a hell of an experience. Thanos was amazing. Josh Brolin did a fantastic job. I still haven't seen Deadpool 2, which I'm very eager to see, because I want to see how his performance of Cable has been, turned down. Um, considering how such a great job he did with Thanos, I imagine his Cable must have, his version of Cable must have been amazing. Um, but of course, also not to mention that, it's also, speaking of heartbreaking moments of the film, I also want to discuss exactly how Spider-Man left. It's a shame that he was passed, but it was definitely one of the main issues that hit me hard because of the way it was well acted. Tom Holland brought his A game to this table, and he slayed it, bro. He definitely slayed it. He did it in a way that I think he's definitely mostly he's more of the honor, a great follow up to Toby. But my personal opinion, Toby Maguire is still the good. He's the first on screen Spider Man in movies, so I appreciate him a lot more. I actually, I preferred him a lot more over Toby Maguire. Excuse me, I preferred Toby Maguire over Andrew Garfield. So with that being said, Tom Holland was a great breath of fresh air. I love what he's done with the role, and it was definitely heartbreaking to see his character, his Spider-Man, go at the end of the movie. Even though we all knew he was definitely coming back. We all know it's a shoo-in. Spider-Man will be returning. So don't go losing your current. Don't go losing you. Don't lose your shit just yet, because he's coming back. But it was definitely a well handled scene that I gotta give props to the Russo brothers again for just delivering that, because it was one of the most epic moments. I'd say that was up there with one of the most epic moments of comic book history, of comic book film history, regarding up there with great moments like in Batman, Superman the movie, of course, and so on and so forth. It definitely etched its place in one of the greatest CBMs of all time, and it's well earned. And I can't wait to see what the conclusion is, and what's gonna happen from there on out. It's definitely interesting to see. And speaking of great films, I do want to give a discussion. I do want to give a special shout out. First and foremost, I want to talk about Margot Kidder, uh, the original Lois Lane from the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, directed by Richard Donner. It's it was a hell of a sad day for that. It was one of the biggest. it was one of the, it sucked. It really sucked. It was one of the moments I felt the most out of it. It reminded me a lot of when Christopher Reeve passed and how much that rocked me when I was, when I was thinking about it, because these were my hero, growing up, those two movies, Superman, Superman 2, were like were everything to me. So these characters for me were more than larger than life. Superman was the first superhero I cheered for, and actually modeled a lot of. I try to model a lot of good habits, I guess you could say, off of his character, somewhat into my life. But for what it's worth, like it's a great. It was a great loss. It was definitely, well, felt. She will be missed. The chemistry between her and Christopher Reeve on screen was just immaculate. It's unmatchable. Nothing has been able to come that close as far as that, as far as those two were concerned. And you know, here's to hoping that she's at peace right now. I know she's at a better place, and I'm still gonna be watching those movies over and over, no matter what. I'll never stop watching those films. It will always have a special place in my heart now, more than ever. They're more important now than ever, considering the loss of these considering the loss of these people, the actors. And you know, thank you for everything that you've done, Miss Kidder. I appreciate it. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for a wonderful childhood. Thank you. So with that being said, moving forward, oh, Action Comics number 1000 has been released last month on April 18th. As you can see, I've gotten my copy. Boom. An 80-page giant. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, mind you. It's with a wonderful collage of writers. You know, even Richard Donner himself contributed. You contributed some story to the book, which was amazing. Actually, it was one of my favorite stories in the book, and very heartfelt and touching. It brought me back to that. It brought me back to his Superman films. Honestly, with the way it was done, the way the dialogue was written, the way it was just created, it was actually something really reminiscent of what the same spirit, the same magic that this first Superman film had. It was evident throughout that entire story, and what a well send off to this. Brian Michael Bendis apparently makes his appearance in this issue. Of course, as you can see, the red trunks have returned. So Superman's red underwear is back. In other words, the new 52, the rebirth is now. It's come full circle. It's done. No more. It's back to basics. It's back to the original. It's back to the classic Superman. They did keep a few things. Obviously, like not even a few things. It's this crock. And they did keep the cuffs on the sleeves from his original, from the last costume, but that's about it. But other than that, it's just back to basics. So it's actually pretty refreshing to see this return of Superman again. Hopefully it's going to be handled a lot better. His run has been great so far. Brian Michael Bendis did tool around a little bit. I don't know what the hell he's doing with Superman right about now. I'm hoping he's not causing a cluster at this point. I'm waiting for his Man of Steel miniseries to drop to see what he's going to do with that. But like I said, a lot of people, a lot of the stuff with Brian Michael Bendis, apparently people have complained, of course, that he's been hit or miss as of recently. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen so far before I can make my judgments. If it's terrible, it's terrible. I'm going to call it out for what it is. But definitely, I'd rather just give him a chance. The guy's a legend. He's been around for quite some time already. But definitely a fantastic read, man. Guys, make sure you pick that up. It's one of the, it's a landmark issue. Obviously, it says, even though it says it on the cover, but it's an 80-page issue, so you can't be, so you're not short of any stories. You're not missing anything. It's got some good stuff in there. Excellent material. Great way to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Superman, of course. And can't wait to see what they're gonna do with Batman as well. So with that being said, you know. We've gotten some great. With that being said, I wanted to discuss my second co-host here, Mr. Captain Marvel, or Shazam, legally speaking, at this point in time. But yes, he's also my second co-host, and What a great reveal that Zachary Levi did on Instagram regarding the official artwork that they did. Apparently, they took it down though for some reason. Warner Brothers American, for some reason they just took down the damn thing. But whatever. At this point, it's just like it was an amazing look. The poster it basically just showed Zachary Levi in costume, of course. The Shazam. The lightning bolt, it's actually lit up in a suit in the movie, so there's gonna be some computer effects. I love this figure, by the way, and I love it. It's a badass figure. It's one of these one to me. I love these figures for the simple fact of the articulation that they look exactly like the Ed McGuinness illustrations from Public Enemies. There's just no way around it. Look at how uncanny these figures look. The detail is just unbelievable, guys. I love them. So with that being said, I'm highly excited with the way the Shazam is looking. The official artwork on the poster of him actually just having like a cherry Slurpee while he's just looking at the screen, looking up ever so innocently. It looks like he looks like he's a big dork, but that's exactly what he's the big red cheese for a reason. This is Shazam. This is who we're talking about. I love the energy that that poster gave off. It was actually on, it was amazing to see that's the direction that they're going with the movie. I cannot wait to see a teaser trailer. You know, it looks like it's turning around for it looks like it's actually turning around a bit for the DCCU. So far, we haven't gotten anything as of yet other than the confirmation from the actor who's playing Black Manta and Aquaman that there is some sort of publicity plan going on for Aquaman coming soon. The schedule will come out this year, and it's gonna be pretty badass to see the least. That's why they've been pretty tight with the with any footage. I would say at this point, I mean, we're coming up to June right now, so at least drop some sort of a teaser trailer to give an idea, a taste as to what's coming. So just to get the ball rolling with some sort of conversation. Nothing revealing, of course, but something to get the ball rolling with the conversation of that. It's been pretty dry on the DC side as far as their films are concerned. Sorry for that. But it has been, as of the last couple of months, ever since Justice League, man, it's been a bumpy ride here and there. So here's to hoping that this is under the new face, which I'm sure it is. It's just it's been hella crazy. Speaking of which, I wanted to discuss real quick about Zack Snyder. I mentioned this guy quite a bit, and I know it's been kind of beating the dead horse with a stick or whatever, but it's been crazy. Apparently, he's he's been very active on his social media as of recently. He's got a Vivo account that he's also getting in contact with fans as well that he's using to talk with fans, which is cool. Whatever, I don't mind. But I'm looking at the whole situation as why is this, that this it's Kim. The thing about Zack Snyder, without getting into too much details, is that his fans are so rabid that it's very difficult to have basic conversations with about it. And so it really, I don't really engage too much with these guys because they have like a very, I don't know, they have like a very snotty way of dealing, with a conversation regarding it because they really don't like hearing any some sort of particular criticism about his work, which I understand to a degree, but it goes overboard. So with that being said, I'd rather not entertain the possibility of that being, that happening. But it's kind of hard to. I mean, at this point, I'm coming to the conclusion that it's true that he was fired, because he's been posting so much behind the scenes stuff so far as of recently about Batman, about BVS, and so on and so forth, and and the only thing that's missing is what he's not talking about is Justice League, even though he direct like he'll answer a question here and there, but he's not going full on into a conversation about Justice League. But he has been putting up a lot of behind the scenes photos and stuff of that nature from BVS, and he's really like also interactive with some of the fans that he has on there. So a lot of the questions that it kind of sucks because it really it kind of sucks because it's like it's kind of inflating the ego of these fans and these so-called fanatics that he has. That I don't want to get into it. It's just terrible. But at this point, it's it's easy to see why the movie didn't do what it was supposed to. It's easy. I mean, it's easy to see why he was the wrong man for the job. He had some pretty neat ideas, but he struggled with his execution. He really did, and it showed. It was evident. It was showed in the work. It really showed in the work. It wasn't just this. It wasn't just comic book fans. It was a general audience that was catching on to this, and to top things off, he was implementing elements of Elseworld story to start off the main cinematic universe, which is a no-no. You really don't do that. You really don't do that. It's bad enough. You already took a lot of influence from The Dark Knight Returns as your Batman, which is really unreal because he's not. That's not canon. It's not. It's not canon with. It's not in keeping with continuity of what's going on with Batman. So that's already one of the major misfires he did right there. So on top of that, he wanted to use. It was also been revealed that Injustice was used, even though, and that was a pretty, it was pretty evident anyway. But he definitely confirmed that Injustice was one of the influences for the film, which was another major. Like I said, reverting back to what I originally stated, making and implementing an Elseworld story and to your as your main cinematic. It was a bad idea. The writing was on the wall immediately that this wasn't going to go well. So obviously, I've come to the conclusion that yes, he was fired. I think, yeah, I believe it. I definitely believe that he was fired. Regardless of the fact. I mean, in any case scenario, he should have been let go a while ago, not 3 movies in. And then waste all this money in the process in the long run. Because it was a bad hit, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these actors really deserve a chance to really redeem themselves. Um, and the one who's really not getting that opportunity is Henry Cavill. Everything that he did, and his Superman was the highlight of Justice League. To be quite honest, for me, his Superman in Justice League was actually it. It was the tits because he was actually acting like Superman. He wasn't acting like he was like like a moody jerk off in the previous 2 movies, which is not Superman. That's not Superman at all. That's not even remotely close to what Superman is or who he is. So Snyder's vision was a complete misfire on so many fronts that it offended quite a few people. And instead of that, his fans taking that into consideration, they just want to argue, nonsense. So with that being said, it's obvious that he was using a lot of influences from the film, from outside resources like the video games and so on and so forth. But he really wasn't following through with the pro. He really wasn't following through all of them because he didn't have a plan. Obviously, his plan was just it was just heavily flawed. It really wasn't coming together the way it was supposed to. So now he's off. So at this point, I'm hoping that they can get somebody else to get Henry Cavill another swing at a solo Superman film. I think he deserves it. I honestly believe he deserves it more than anything else. Definitely deserves it way more than Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad 2. Also, apparently a Birds of Prey film has actually been, really has been greenlit and is going forward at a lot faster speed than we all think. That's actually pushed back Suicide Squad 2 in itself, which kind of is crazy, but actually a good idea too, because considering what Suicide Squad was originally, I think a lot of reworkings need to be done as far as as far as the sequel is concerned. But all in all, yeah, it looks like it's actually a Birds of Prey movie going along. It seems like Margot Robbie is taking charge of a lot of a lot of conversations, which is pretty cool considering it's pretty cool that she has such a love for her character like that. I mean, let's be honest here. The character was a home run from the park. No matter how you slice it. Consider, Harley Quinn is a popular character. She's gonna sell no matter what. And if she does a great job like Margot did, it's gonna sell really well. So kudos to her, and let's hope to see some cool shit coming from this Birds of Prey feature film. And what else? Oh. Yes, let's discuss the inevitable. Okay. Excuse me, guys. But wow, Walking Dead, man. Wow, what the hell's going on with you guys? Andrew Lincoln is his final season coming up in season 9. How is that possible? I mean, shit, man. How's Rick Grimes leaving the show? Apparently, it just was released today that Andrew Lincoln this will be his final season on The Walking Dead, and he's only gonna be there for a handful of episodes. So it means he's probably getting clapped in, early on in the season coming up. Um, I'm gonna be honest, man. Considering the changes that they've done this last season and the amount of viewers that they've been losing, it looks like they're probably getting ready to throw in the towel. Um, Fear the Walking Dead seems to be doing a lot better at this point than Walking Dead, and what I did read is that they're upping Norman Reedus' pay to take over, but how the hell is that gonna work? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not really gonna last too long. This, the yin to the yang was that Rick was the yin to his yang. So at this point, like, it's really just, it's we're looking at curtains here for The Walking Dead. Just so you guys know, um, shit like this happens, it means pretty much they're getting ready to close the door on that and move something else. Move on to something else. And it had its run. It definitely had its run. But in all honesty, like, what the hell? If it didn't deviate so much from the comic books and do such crazy shit, then I think, and on top of that, on top of the fact that it wasn't filled with so many boring fucking filler episodes that went to absolutely nowhere, then it would be a different story. But that's not the case. It's not what happened. It completely it went way off the rails as far as the source material was concerned. It developed its own drama, its own stories. They killed off they killed off Carl of all things. Which was bullshit. Like, why the fuck did they just kill him off? It was just like they were planning to, on top of that, also the behind the scenes goings on, the ramblings about Lauren Cohen, the actress who plays Maggie on the show. She's not getting, she's been renegotiating her contract, so on and so forth. So all of these signs are telling me at this point, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear at this point that the show is coming to an end really soon. Don't be surprised if it's probably going to be this, probably next year that it's the last year for it, and it could have gone a lot longer than that. It definitely coincide because how's it going to coincide now that if The Walking Dead gets canceled and Fear the Walking Dead continues? You know how crazy that's going to look, guys. Like, I don't know, just I don't know. There's just something about it that just doesn't it doesn't really coagulate with me for too great. So, but let's see what happens in the future. I mean, I don't know, man. But the writing's on the wall with this, and for him to only be there for a handful of episodes and not even for not even for the complete whole season, that means this man was out there looking for other roles already. And I don't blame him. The guy's been playing the same worn out shit for the last almost 10 years now. The show was on the air since been 2010. You know. And so the guy's pretty much had his, he's had his fulfillment, but then, just be careful with that shit too, you know what I'm saying? Because look at what's been happening with the rest of the cast. A lot of those cats that were such great characters, the governor, what's this guy's name? The old guy, the Maggie's father, the guy who played Maggie's father on the show, Glenn, of course, Andrea. These characters were all there, and then these actors, you didn't hear shit from them after they left. I'm still haven't seen anything really. I've barely seen the cat. Was it Steve Yeun? I've barely seen him pop up since he got killed last season on The Walking Dead. So I don't know. Hopefully he's got some shit lined up, but only time will tell. Well, so with that being said, guys, I'm gonna wrap this episode up. But thank you for viewing. I appreciate the love that you guys have been showing. I'm gonna be dabbling into some live streams pretty soon. So I'm gonna see how that works out. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Um, and definitely, if you have anything you want to discuss about the next episode, any questions, comments, you already know. Hit the comment section, and I'll hit you right back as quickly as I can. Once again, bless y'all, and hopefully you guys are having a great week, and hopefully you had an even better Memorial Day. So until next time, take care of yourselves, peace and love. All right.